Hey there, from Area 51 Raceway. Today I'm going to install the Slot Car Corner Carrera GT3 rear axle kit, and I'm also going to install the new Slot Invasion guide adapter for the Carrera car. And I think this is really cool, and this is really cool. Great improvements for your Carrera car. I know I haven't really been messing with Carrera cars lately, but you know, it's time to kind of mess with one. I have a wood track. I still have all my old Carrera cars, but I want to go ahead and show you how I can install, how to install this on your own. No step by step really. Harry's done a step by step, which is excellent. He explained the different tires that you could use and stuff. I'm basically going to do it right on camera and just show you, how it's done in real time. And if I screw up, I screw up. I'm human. And at least if I could, if I do screw up, I could, fix my mistakes and you can learn from that. So let's go down to the bench in Area 51 and we'll install these two items on the Carrera NASCAR. All right, here we are. We're down here at the bench, and this is a block that I printed up from one of Dave's designs. These are going to be a giveaway from Marty's channel, so if you're interested in, going to Marty's channel and commenting on the video, or however he does it, and you can get one of these. Pretty cool. So what I have here is the obviously NASCAR Camaro, and very typical Carrera car where you have your spring guide, you have your reverse chip, and your Carrera motor. And one thing about this is that you can see how the motor wiggles. It's acceptable because the magnet's going to hold this car down. But if you don't have a if you have a non-magnet situation, then this is going to cause an issue. And even if you do have magnets, it'll be an improvement because you can see how much the motor waddles around back and forth and stuff like that. Now, what is nice about this kit is that you could save these or cut these out and put them in the wheel, but actually you don't really have to because these are very similar to what come with the car, and these come with the kit actually, excuse me. And you can see they're pretty, almost just about identical. So I mean, if you get a silver marker and paint these up, they will fit in the aluminum wheel and it'll look like nothing, has ever, know the difference. I mean, it's going to run around the track and you won't be able to see the difference on it. Or you could cut these out. There's a way to do it and insert them into the wheels. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to use these because I want to make my life easier. And the first thing I'm going to do is pop this off. And you could save this, for a later date on another vehicle or whatnot, or another NASCAR, totally up to you. And of course you don't have to solder nothing. This is the kind of beauty of this with the way Carrera does these. And you're going to take the purple connector which goes to the motor and untangle it. We're going to remove it as soon as we can here. They can be a little stubborn, like I said, so you'll have to kind of finagle it out. Oh, see, like I told you, I'm doing this live here, no editing, and there you go. I was grabbing the wrong ones, grabbing here, so I grabbed there. Obviously, the motor popped up real easy because it's in there pretty loose. It's just a snap in, so you can see it just kind of popped in and popped out. So, but it's fairly loose, and we'll resolve that issue, when we put the car together. So we'll take the motor out. And what we want to do is, I'm going to leave this off the side here, is we're going to look at the pinion gear here, and it does come with the pinion gear, the crown gear, the bushings, the screws, the inserts, and the wheels, and the axle here that you'll need for this kit. And this is all right here, right by my tools. And what I'm going to do is, I want to put this off to the side here, is get my bearings on how far I need to go with this. What I'm going to do is just mark it with a marker up here as I get my old man glasses on so I can see better. I have the camera right directly in front of me, so if I hit the camera, forgive me. Again, like I said, this is all live, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark it right here. You can use a paint marker or a marker, and I'm going to do that so I know how far I need to get the gear in there. Or you could use your caliper and also measure as well. Caliper is important. You could measure, you know, how far you need to go in or not. There you go. Let me go right there. So from here to here is 5.69 millimeters. So I mean, you could get an idea like that. So how far you need to go into, you know, the shaft. And then of course this is, you want this to protrude out so it could, you know, fall into the boss of the crown gear. And I don't usually save these gears, but just in case, if you want to, I'll use a screwdriver and pry it out and launch it across the room, which that's okay, it's over there. And that's what I just did. So there's my mark there, what I did. You know, what I'm going to do is put the crown gear in. And I have my Salt Invasion handy dandy tool. These are really good gear installers. And I'm going to get this all settled in. I usually do it like this. Pitch it this way, put the crown gear here, and get it in there. Let me get this right here, my tool, Allen head tool, and you're just gonna center it on here, and and there you go. See, I told you I was gonna see all my little errors on camera. It's gonna happen today because it's all live installation. Also, I have the camera in front of me, so it's hard for me to maneuver. I just want you guys to see everything. And it always takes patience to do this stuff. You have to not lose your cool. You know, sometimes things could get frustrating. There we go. I'll lock it on. Then what I'm going to do is position it. And I'm going to push it in. Obviously, if it's dead stops, don't like that. And just dead stop, because I'm not centered on the hole. Now I am. I'm going to go in. About that far. If you go in too far, don't do that, because then you won't have a harder time pulling it out. Now we're going to see where I mark. So my mark is gone, or you could barely see it. So what I'll do is I'll get the caliper and I'll do that same measurement. I've locked it from the bottom to here, and it's a little bit further in, as you can see. So I'll have to pull out a little bit. So I'll get my puller here, and I'm going to pull it out just a tad bit, just a hair, a skosh, about that much. Then I'm going to remeasure. And I think I'm about there, and that should be fine. I should be good right there. Looks like that's pretty promising. But again, this gear is a little bit in height. It's a little bit shorter. So what I could do is I could get this right here, the chassis, and install it, and then I can install the original gear just to see where I'm at and just kind of get an idea where it needs to be at. And there you go. Actually, that's pretty good, and depending on when we put the other gear, if we need to adjust, we'll adjust, but I think that's a pretty good spot, and I'm going to go with that. So now that I have my pinion gear installed, I go ahead and work on putting the axle and bushings in. So I'll move that off to the side, put it over here, and what I'm going to do is get the bushings here. And here's another thing you want to look into. So as always, these are going to be a different size, these slip-on bushings. So this is 461, 460, 460. I moved it a little. So let's say, hold on a second, do that. 468, 469. Okay. I'm going to get my new bushings. You're going to see these are going to be tighter, or bigger, excuse me. So 478. So a little bit bigger. This is real important. You want to make sure to be able to widen these holes here, because you have a different size bushing, and it's not much. Now this is a chainsaw bit. I believe this is 3/16, And what we're going to do is we're just going to lightly just grind, you know, open these saddles up. All right. Same thing here, a little bit of opening up. You're just grinding a little material off. So this way these will fit into here. And that's the whole point of it. Like that. So, like that. And these are going to snap in and have a little tightness to it. So, let me go ahead and grind a little bit more because it felt a little tight. Come up a little bit here. All right. Same thing. I'm pulling it up a little. So you shouldn't have a problem. What I'm going to do is get the axles. Excuse me, the axle. I will put this in first. Retrieve my bushing that fell in there. Like that. I'll snap it in, just like that. Okay. You see there's a little movement, which is fine. That's fine. So what we want to do is keep the axle in there so we can align the bushings, because we want the bushings to be aligned with the axle, because you don't want to put one at a time, because one's higher and lower, and then it's going to be causing resistance, because we want this axle to drop through real easy through these bushings. And you'll see when you tilt it, you see how it kind of does that. It's going to fall out real easily. Then you'll have them aligned very nicely. Now I'm going to leave that there. What I'm going to do is put a little oil on these bushings here, so because I'm going to use super glue, and I want to protect if I kind of go, if I go a little crazy with super glue, it doesn't go in the hole where the bushing is, and you'll lock the axle and get it stuck in the bushing. So I'm going to get some super glue, and I'm going to get some of my Bob Smith stuff, and what I'm going to do is get a piece of cardboard or something. Hold on a second here. Bump on my camera. I'm going to put a little like this. But let me get this opened up because it's clogged a little. Get my blade and get that cook out of there. Here we go. And what I'm going to do is, whoa, see, this is all live, man. I'm hitting the camera already. I need a little glue like that. And I'm getting an applicator. Just like this. And I'm going to put some glue here like that. You can use a nozzle and put like a drop on top of there, but the thing is I just don't want it to make a big mess and go all over the place, and I'll put it right here. Okay, and I'll let that dry. See, just like that. See how nice and easy that moves? And then just put your glue, let it dry, and then you can put some more glue around the outside here if you want. But I'm going to let it set. And you let the glue do its job. I'll cover this cap up with this glue here. And put this right here, because I'm going to put more on. And the reason why, again, I put the oil is just to keep, you know, make sure the axle doesn't get stuck with super glue. If you kind of do it this way, like a lot of people will also do it like this if you want, but the thing is it kind of makes a mess. I didn't want to do that. I want to be sure. That's why I like these applicators, and you can get them from Amazon. I mean, these are like some type of makeup applicators. I can't remember, and I'll put a link in there on the page, on, you know, as the video rolls. It's just easier to use this for a lot of different things, oils or whatnot, if you want specific spots. Glue. I think these things are really cool. I have to give credit to John Albright, Big John. He's the one that turned me on to these quite a few years ago, I think 2 years ago. And I've been using it ever since, and they're cheap, and they come in multiple amounts in a bag and different colors, but they're really handy to do a lot of simple things. You can see the glue's running on the back there, so I want to make sure we don't get glue on my fingers, because you kind of want to avoid that. Making a mess. Excuse me for bumping the camera again. Again, I have it right in front of me. I don't have no particular tripod to leave it, which I should. And I'm going to check, make sure everything is moving nice and forth, back and forth like that. And what I'm going to do now is, you see, we'll let the axle falls through nicely. That's what you want. That's going to create the least amounts of resistance in in your car. And that's the whole key with the slot car, is to keep keeping the resistance down. You don't want resistance on your drivetrain, or it just slows everything down. See how that slides out easily. And what I'm going to do carefully is put some out here, around here like that. Oh, ooh, that was close. I'm going to pull that out because I already got that set just in case I got glue on that. So what I'll do is I should have took that out to begin with. So see my mistake there, you're going to learn from it. Don't want to get glue on your axle, but it's got oil on it, so that's good. And I'll go around here. I'll put some glue. And let me get some more. Just like this. And we'll go back over here. A small amount. Just like that. This is a kind of a thin glue, not a super thin, but it I should have got some thin stuff. And I'll do that. And if you want, if you're worried about the excess glue around there, you can always clean it off with your applicator by just going over it like this and just wiping it off. Coming back over here and wipe it off again. Clean it up if you're worried about it. And I can do it again also if I want to get another one. So that's why these applicators come in handy. And clean it up again, see? Like that. Or you use a little paper towel, it's up to you. Like that. And there you go. That should be good. It should be all set. And just let that dry. Like I'm gonna do there, let it dry. Cap my glue off so it doesn't dry up. That should be pretty much set. And again, you know, I could get another applicator because I got a ton of them and just kind of go over it again. I'll clean up more of the glue off, or you use a paper towel, whatever's easier. Like that, clean it up. Like that. Okay. Yep, bump the camera again. Now I'm going to get my axle. And it should drop through easily. Let me re-glue it again. Or excuse me, oil it again, not re-glue it. Coat of oil here again, because it should drop through fairly easy. Got a little bit of oil there. You see, nice and easy. And it should, making a liar out of me. But fairly should drop through easily. There you go. Not maybe doing as easily as it should, but if you wiggle it around, we'll drop through. But you kind of get the point I'm saying. As long as you have very little resistance, you know, you may have a teeny bit here the way this came out, but you know, it's not dropping through perfectly. But hey, you know, it's, you can see there's no resistance here. It's nice and smooth, easy. There you go. Try it again. See, nice and easy. So let me have a little bit of, don't feel like I have a little bit of glue on here, but let's see. Let me get some more oil. I didn't really put it in the bushing, so I'll put it in the bushing and try that again. Trying to make it perfect, but times it may not come out exactly perfect. So there you go. Now it's dropping through like it should. The oil's kind of helping it a little, but you get the point what I'm saying. I mean, as long as it drops through, which it's doing. And again, when I put this in here, you can see how nice and easy it goes back and forth. It's not, there's no resistance, so no binding. So even though it's not dropping through like I wanted to, but I'm happy with it. You know, it's glued in the right spot. I don't see it being an issue with, you know, you having any problems with resistance, but nice and easy. Okay, so now we got that in. Say let it dry. So what I'm going to do is, as that's dry, I'm going to stick my motor in here, and we glue that into position when we get the gear in. There we go. There's that. Okay, now I'm going to get my gear. All right. And let's make sure we got it in the right direction. 1 second here, I'm just double checking something here. All right. Get this right here. And we're going to check to see how close we got the teeth, you know, if we need to pull the pinion out more or not. There we go. And no, that's it. That's perfectly fine. Now this gear, as Harry said, a little clear. It's very close, it'll clear, but if you do go to a bigger gear, you'll have to cut the bottom out so you could clear this right there. You could see it's, ooh, yeah, it's pretty close, but it'll pass, and you can see it rolls nicely. And then now that you have everything there, what we're going to do is take care of this movement here, and I'll show you how I'll do that, how I'm going to do that in a moment. I'm going to tighten this gear into place, just like that, nice and smooth. And I'm going to get my wheels just for the heck of it, put them in here, and get a little tight, a little tightening there. And I'm going to get my other wheel. Right there. Give me a second here. That, okay, my wheel. So we got all this sloppiness here, and what we're going to do to eliminate that is we're going to put some UV glue. So I'm going to pull the motor out, and what I could do is just a little sanding, like Harry says. Excuse me. And get a little small grit paper, shine it up. This is so we can get everything to stick nicer. Just a little polishing right there. And then we're going to put the motor back in, and you can see that's lined up nicely. So the boss is, there's clearance between the top of that motor shaft, it's not hitting the boss or anything, and the gear, the position it's in, where to relation to the pinion tooth and the crown tooth, that's a good spot. You're perfect right there. That's what you need right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to UV glue the motor, as I bump the camera again. And again, this is where I like my how would you say, applicators, because I'm going to get an applicator again. And what I'm going to do is get my UV light. Here it is. And I got some UV glue here on the little pad here. Got some UV glue, and the reason why we're going to use UV glue is because if you ever want to take this motor out and you put super glue, yeah, you don't want to do that, because if you like this car, then with the way Carrera has spare parts, you'll have to go to eBay and try and scavenge for a chassis that somebody may have, because Carrera ain't going to carry extra spare parts. What I'm going to do is UV glue this with some UV light. I got it right where I want it. That's pretty much where it's sitting. It should be good. But it should be good. I should probably check, but I think I'm fine where I'm at, because I just don't want the motor to move. And just UV glue this to keep any movement from happening. And there's another spot you could do it too if you want, at the bottom of the motor on the which I didn't clean, but that's okay. I didn't think of it, but again, like I said, I'm going to make my mistakes on there. You're going to see it, and then you could go back over and do it better than how I've done it. And just going to make just things a little bit better here with just securing the motor more and making sure it doesn't move. And there you go. See how nice, and that's nice and snug, and that's really good. Now you can put some here if you want to on the end bell. I think it'll be okay where it's at, but let's try some on the end bell just for, how would you say, shits and giggles. I don't know if the British say that or not, but some shits and giggles. So we'll get a little bit of this. I'm going to put just a teeny bit here and a teeny bit here, and that's all I'm going to do, a little bit, because later on you want this to break loose, which UV glue will do that, and you could cut it if you need to. I'll put it on the end bell right here, and it should stick to that plastic. But if it doesn't, we'll find out. It'll crack off, but as long as the other end is good on the other side, that's what we want. And I'm just gonna a little bit longer and go to the other side. Some here, some UV light, getting the glue hardened. Like that. See, I'm getting old. I can't hold things as steady like that. I get a little shaky. All years of working on large equipment and banging my hands around. I'll do that. All right, that should be good. So we're nice and snug. The motor's not going to move. See how they're nice and secure? That's really nice. I like that. Nice, tight like a tiger, as Austin Powers would say. And we'll roll that up and stick it in there and whatnot. And there you go. So there you have it. And these are the Paul Gauge 2012 5 LMXD. XDs for extra deep. That's the type of tire that is made for these wheels. If you want to use, you know, these will also work, I believe, on the Carrera tire as well, because it's an extra deep. Select these as my choice tire for this kit, and slip these on. And then, you know, the beauty is that we could true these tires, and which are going to need to be true, as you can see how much they stick into there because of the way that, you know, the car is, the tire gives the flashing, And also what we could do is, if you want to use some spacers, which I'm going to use spacers here, some axle spacers, and you get these to slot car corner, and I'm going to use 20 thousandths on each end. That's just my preference. I want to try, and I'm going to grab these, and they come in different sizes: 10 thousandths, 20 thousandths. 10s is clear, 20s yellow, 30s, you know, gray, 40s red, 50 is purple, and 60 is green. So, and I use these a lot on, you know, the 3A3D cars, because I just think they just work well for shimming up the bodies and doing a lot of different things, wheels and all. So I'm going to do is get this. I could grab it and put it right here. And this is just going to space it out a little away from the chassis. And like this. And put it right here. And again, you could use any type of spacer you want, metal or plastic. It's totally up to you. Or if you find someone, you know, somewhere else on Amazon or whatever, big bag of them, totally up to you. But that's nice and snug, and that's gonna really roll nicely. So I have to true those, and that's the beauty of this. I could remove this wheel, and I will true them and get those done. For now, I'll stick them on here, even though they're gonna rub, just to have them on there. And we'll go up to the tire truer and true them. So the front guide mount, the little holder. So what we're going to do is, this will be a little bit more involved. So we're going to get the red and black wire. I'm going to remove it properly, as I didn't remove it before. I was trying to remove it from here. She saw me on camera. And what we're going to do is we're going to take out the front guide holder. We're going to save our screws, obviously. All right, and that comes off from the top, and it should come out, I hope. Here we go. Actually, gotta remove this here. Hold on a second. My bad again. Told you this is all not scripted, man. You're gonna see me screw up. I'm gonna screw up, and I got stuff everywhere, of course. Not utilizing my little tool here. I gotta look for my flathead. Where are you? Here it is. So we gotta remove this, obviously. Obviously, George. Obviously. Okay, there we go. Falls out. Here you go. That is out of the way. Here's that little spring. That was sometimes a pain in the butt to put on. And there we go. Everything is loose as a goose there. And here we have our new guide mount. And this is really nice because it comes with a slot invasion guide. And we're going to obviously take this out here. This is nice. You can put it right here, right there. And then we're going to use the existing Carrera screws. Put it, this is a rear mount one. And there we go. Trying to get it to fit. There you go. Be a little snug, you just got to position it. So no worries. Just get it lined up. Excuse me. I'm gonna get that. Get the next one. And as you can see, it's not lined up, so we'll push it up. There'll be a little snug fit there. You got to get in between the plastic. We'll tighten it up like that, and tighten up like that, and there we go. It's all installed there. Looking good so far. So yeah, there you go. And then here's our Carrera, our slot invasion guide. There you go. Now what you have to do obviously is, like I said, you'll have to either use the existing wires, which you can do, and make some, put them in here with some ferrules. Totally up to you. There's different ways of doing it, or I do the old method of, putting set screws on the front of this, but not a big deal. It's something that needs to be done, and as you can see, that fits in there nicely. That's real nice. Clears pretty decently. It doesn't look like it hit anything at all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my old true and tried method of putting my own braid in here. I do it this way. I get excuse me again, guys, my throat gets so dry when I do videos. I'll get my little pin vise and a little drill bit, and this would be the same size as a 2mm grub screw, and just basically just do this. Make a hole there. You don't have to do it this way. This is just how I do it. You could use the little ferrules, which I preferably don't like the ferrules, but other people like them. It's just a matter of preference. And I'm going to make my holes there. And a little high, a little low, no big deal. It's basically what I'm going to do is make my own, obviously, way of doing this. And bear with me. Yeah, it's all unscripted, guys. That's why it's all like this. I look for my braid. I can't find where I put my braid. Gosh darn it, did I run out? I may have ran out. I'm sitting here scooping through everything. Yep, looks like I ran out. I need to get more. So, let me look over here. Okay, so I got some here. I'm going to take this off of another car. Usually when I have it, ready to go, but see, this is not going to work because it's not fresh new stuff. So I'm going to go get some braid here. So I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. I'm going to get my slot car corner braid so I can put it on here. Okay, I'm back, and I had to go get some upstairs and bring it down. So this is the tin copper slot car corner braid. What I'm doing is just putting it through here and just doing that. And what I'm going to do is something I haven't done before. So I did the existing wires here with the connector, because if you don't want to solder, these together, you could avoid that. But what I did also, I did soldering. I, tin coated this with some, solder so I could put it in here and it'll, pinch against the braid, and it may be a teeny bit long. You see it's sticking out. I don't think it's going to be of any consequence, and that's what I do. You don't have to do it this way. The ferrules will probably work better because it's a real thin wire. If you use the Carrera original wire with the connector, I'm just trying to make it easier if somebody doesn't want to, you know, use any other wire, use the existing one. And I'm going to do is, you see, I'm going to push that in there, and that's going to get contact. It's gonna, oh, and there you go. See, you live and learn. That's going to break. So obviously the Carrera wire is not going to work. So this is why I do this stuff on camera. It's an experiment, you know. If it's going to work, it's going to work. If it's not, it's not. And there's the piece right there. So with that being said, what I can do is I could cut right here and then add extension wires, the, you know, the slot car corner one, so I could use it in this. And I'll show you how I'll do that. I'll get some wire, and which I need to go get upstairs. Okay, well, we found out that this wire was too thin. You can see the difference in the way it is. This is the slot car corner wire. Now I've tinned this, you know, put flux, and then I put solder over it, you know, paste flux. Then what I normally do is I just smash them like this. I do this with all cars that I have that have guides in them, you know, aftermarket guides. I use I don't use ferrules. If you use ferrules, it may work better with these, but I just don't think it's not going to work in this case. Then what I do is, since I've smashed this, I put it in here like I did before. Let me pull this up some more. And all you're doing is just you're basically pushing the wire up against the braid. That's the whole point of this. And I'm going to position it here and make sure I got it where I want it, and then I'll just screw it in like I did. And you see when I did that tug test, that's exactly what it should do. And then the other one broke off because it's just too thin. See how that's not going to come off ever, and that's really on there securely. And if you have a little excess, that's not a big deal. You can pull it up. You can see it's a little bit sticking out. I don't ever see it being a problem, but if you're not liking that, then you could pull it up a little like that. Oh, and there we go. That didn't work out because it came out. So again, like I said, you're going to see my mistakes on camera. They're going to hammer. I pulled that out too soon when I was moving it. I'll reinsert this in again. That's why I leave a little bit sticking out like that. I didn't leave enough, so I'll leave a little bit more out like that. This top part ain't going to interfere with anything, so I'll do this again. Yep, wrong wire. Grabbing the original Carrera stuff. You see with that mark it put on there, that's not going to do anything to the wire. It's perfectly fine. That's normal. I'll put it back in there, and then I will thread it in there with this M2 grub screw up against there. Oh, all right, let's do this again. So again, I'm going to get my wire, put it right here, and get my grub screw and tighten it up like that. There you go. That's where I'm getting at right here. Excuse me. See how tight that is? It's not going to come out. I'll fold it in, and there you go. I'll grab the other one. I already smooshed it. I have another grub screw around here, and I don't know where it went. And I had it here, and it probably fell out, but not a big deal. I will get another one. I usually end up finding my grub screws lying somewhere in another spot. And so, hold on a second here. Get that in there again. There we go. You don't have to do it this way. It's just the way I do it. I just, you know, everybody has their methods. I'm not going to tell you this is the, you know, you have to do it this way. This is the way to do it. You do it however the heck you feel that works for you. And I always say that constantly because everybody has a different way of building a mouse trap. And this is just my way of doing it. And I always say, again, over and over, you don't have to do it this way. You could do it a different way. You find a better way, cool, do it. Or one way that's easier for you and works for you. and do it also. And so anyways, I'm gonna put that in there, and there we go. Should be secured in there just fine. Those aren't going to go anywhere. And I got my wires in there. I'm going to put it through here like that, and put it on there. There we go. I'll get my screw, my washer that came with it. Get it out of here. Again, this is where tweezers come in handy too. If you can't grab things with your fingers, tweezers, and Dave uses them constantly, and I know why, because he's got big hands. I don't have as big as hands as Dave, but again, you know, it's nice to have tweezers on hand to do this kind of stuff. This way you're able to get it easier. And I got the screw in there. I'm gonna tighten it up. As my camera's not focusing, let me move my camera here. See, because it moved around when I was doing stuff. And then tighten it up, and then get your, you don't want it too tight obviously. And there we go. That's where you move it like that. Perfect. That's where I want it. So as far as contacting, and this is why we have these blocks this way when we make them, so you can see where it's at. No, it looks pretty good. We may have to shim it. We'll have to see. We drive the car. Obviously, these tires are pretty tight on here on the front. You can see, look at that, not much resistance. I think because, I don't know if these are why the deal is with it, but they look tight. So now that we have that done, what we could do here is, if you don't want to solder these or hardwire them, we can use this connector, right? And, you know, solder them together and then stick them in there. It's up to you how you want to do it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll just do it this way, just for the heck of it. So let me trim these down a little bit shorter so we could use the connector and get this to work. You know, this will be a little tricky because you have to, you know, deal with this. I'm going to leave the wire long because I would always roll it up and tuck it up if I want to, and do that. And this is the fun part. I'm going to strip this more so I could get more wire exposed. And what I could do is just wrap it like this, which is a little tough, you know, or I could just kind of just wing it and put them together like this and solder it, which is a little bit tough sometimes, but I get my paste flux and I have my soldering iron hot, so I'll put paste flux on this first, and put a little dab here, right, and I'll get my solder and get it right here, get some solder ready. They can come like this. Hopefully they'll fuse together just like that. There you go. We'll check it, make sure it doesn't come apart. The only thing about this is that this isn't exposed. See, it's not great. This is the thing about this. I mean, it's together there, but it's an exposed wire, and I don't like that. It's just too much there. So again, it's all about how you want to do it. That doesn't look that great. That looks real sloppy. I don't like it. So I'll take it off and try it again. I could restrip this, which I can. I'll give it another shot. Get that off there. And did this here. Just like that. All right. So that's connected. It's not the greatest, but it is connected right there. And I'll do the same with this wire down here. And again, the thing is that it's going to be, I don't have no insulation, but what I'm going to do is put UV glue on it and UV glue it. This way at least it won't be bare metal wire connecting to contacting with another, causing a short or something like that. I'll strip a little piece off here. I'll do the same with the slot car corner wire. Right, flux on it. Oops, some of that in there. Put some of that over here. And this wire. I'm trying to make sure that doesn't smear all over. I'll leave junk like that until. Of course, that's very flexing around easily. I mean, you have to pre-tin it. I don't know. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But we'll do this. We'll pre-tin this wire because this wire is really being. I just want to make sure. Again, this is hard because I have the camera right here. All right, and I'll re-tin that wire there. This way I could easier to solder them together instead of trying to solder them without pre-tinning them. And again, the little balancing act here. And oh, and I missed. Swing and a miss. And so, that being said, let's move the car to this position here. So and again, this all takes patience. That's why I'm doing this like live now. If I did a cut and then get it perfect and then tell you, hey, it's soldered, I'm just showing you how this is some of the things you run into when you do this. It's part of the way you deal with slot cars. It's just you got to go through. Oh, as I bang the camera around, I'm probably not in position. See, I told you. You're going to see mistakes and everything. And you know what? I'm being stupid. Let me put some flux on there. This is a real bang around camera video, I tell you. Banging the camera all over the place because the freaking soldering iron is like crossing over everything here, the wire. And I'm banging it with my hat. So you're getting the real raw video here of everything right up front. There you go. And give it a moment to cool or it'll come apart. There we go. See, sometimes it seems to be a pain in the butt. So now what I could do this. So I'm worried about it contacting, because there's no insulation. I'll put a little drop of UV glue like this and kind of like make an insulation out of it if I don't make a big mess, and insulate it that way. I mean, heck, better than nothing, right? Let's just do that to seal it. See, that's where these applicators come in handy. And I'm banging my camera again because it's like right here. I don't have a mount to put over the top. You're going to see everything go all over the place. Get some UV glue. So, put some on my applicator. Give me a sec here. All right. Okay, I got some on my applicator here. That was kind of a heavy drop I did, and then do this. This way I can insulate my wires. This is kind of like a hillbilly way, but hey, it works. Nothing wrong with hillbilly way. I'll dry all this stuff off here that I have residue on. There we go. Okay, here we go. So I shouldn't have an issue with these contacting with each other. So now I could put this back on here. Right? So there you go. Video's being done, the hell with it. I mean, then we'll put our wires and glue it like that. They may not go to center right away because of all the everything that's stuffed in here, because I use the original connectors. So, but you know what? It's just, one of those things. I mean, I could try and correct it. I got junk all over there. And I could UV glue it right here like this on the, the circuit, which won't be a big deal, to try and do the return to center deal. So we could do that. Okay, I got my tires trued, and you can see nice and cleared from there. Another thing also is that you're going to see when you put the body on. Oh, one more thing I did add was some blue tack. So I talked about, UVing. All I did was with some blue tack to stick it on there, so the guide can somewhat return to center. Again, this is a Carrera car. I guess I could do that. That should be okay. Just adjust your wires, but the blue tack it's helpful. So it'll somewhat do what I want it to do. But otherwise, looks pretty good. Now, one thing when I put my body on is I noticed that these are very much tucked in too much. So I'm going to put more spacers to bring them out so that they're even with these ones. These also right here, make sure you pull these wheels out because they were really tight. And they still are kind of, because they were pressed in too far and they were up against the chassis and the bushing. That was giving some resistance. So that's a little better. Not perfect. This is why aftermarket wheels I think are better at times. Now, I know Harry's mentioned these do pop out, and you could always cut those down and stick them in the wheel if you want to reuse these, which I'm sure it's possible. I got the slot car corner ones. I'm not going to put in them because I need to cut the axles, and I'll do that later until I get this, fitted the way I wanted to and test run it, and we'll do it without the inserts. Again, that's a cosmetic thing. You could put that on afterwards. So we're going to put, how would you say, larger spacers. So I'm going to go with 40 because I think 40 may be better to push the rear wheels out in the area or the position I want them to be. So I'll use 40, and we will take the wheels off again. I had 20 on there originally, remember, and I will get these off like that and take the shim out, which is right here. We'll go with 40 and see how wide that, how far it pushes it out. There's my part right there. So I'll go ahead and take this one out to put the bigger shim. Alright, there's the other one. And we'll get the new one, the red one, 40 thousandths, and put it like that. And there you are. One thing I would do is, as I stab myself here, is I would mark the position where the hole is at on these, on the back of the wheel, which I'll do later before I put the inserts. So this way you know where it's at. It's kind of hard to tell once it's trued out. So now I got 40 thousandths. I'm going to put my body on there and see how far it puts it out, and not too bad. I think we'll be okay there. Maybe I could go a little bit more. I just don't want to hit this rear inner wheel well, but I think we'll be okay right there, and we'll go with that, and we'll throw it on the track and see what it does. Do a little test drive, and we'll go on the oval, and then we'll go on the we'll go on the road course first, and we'll go on the oval. So let me get these body screws in, because obviously I'm not doing body float on this. This is just a bolt-on application, and I'll put those in there and we'll see how it does. Here, we'll run it on the oval here. Ooh, a little hopping. Obviously, no body float whatsoever in this, nothing. But hey, you know, for throwing it on an oval track with the mods, not bad. And of course, you could improve by, you know, shaving the pads down, making body float. Then you have to deal with, you know, body to wheel contact now that you know, spaced them out. But I don't think it'll be an issue. And then that front axle is to me, it's dragging it. It's not very, how would you say, wonderful. I really don't like it in particular. I think it's just a terrible thing. I think it'd be better with an aftermarket, you know, modification. That's at 10 volts. So we'll do 12 volts here. Let me turn the track up. 12 volts. We'll let off the brake. I can put no brake on it. Oh. There you go. That's pretty much it. You know, it's not too bad. Again, it would benefit if obviously it would have some body float in it and stuff, and just so you could see these at that front axle is that's what's to me slows the car down quite a bit. Again, it's something that I think that could use some improvement. I mean, a nice V30 axle and some aluminum wheels again, and some Paul gauge tires, and then trim down and adjust your guide height. Obviously, I have 60 thousandths on this because it's the stock tires. This would run really nice, and then you know you later on want to do some body float. This car would be real good kick-ass car, man. I mean, it does pretty good, even if you do the 2 mods, like I said. So, but hey, this is the whole deal here. I want to thank Oscar from from Slot Invasion, and I want to thank Steve Sawtell from and Bob Bianchi from Slot Car Corner from sending me the kit to try it out. Uh, I think it's a great improvement for people who have Carrera cars that you know are on a plastic track. If you have magnet or non-magnet, it's this makes a difference, believe it or not. You know, when you just get your cars, just give it a little bit of some mods. This running gear is nice and smooth, and you know with the brass pinion, and you could also improve the motor if you want to. Go with 22 and a half ball bearing motor, or a cyclone motor if you want to stick with the same RPM. There's a lot of options that you could do. You could pop that motor off, put another one in. You know, keep your connectors from Carrera if you want. You don't have to put hard wire. It's, you know, you don't need super thick wire. You see how thin the Carrera wire was, and how much a little bit bigger the, you know, the Soccer corner wire was, and it does fine. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you out, and I hope you liked it. And as always, you take care and have fun racing.